and they didn't want to move. It's a beautiful property there. And I really like Port Alberni, but they were against moving. And so I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning and driving from outside Ladysmith, really um, I can't remember the name of the road, out towards the Chemainus Reserve. What's it called? Oyster Beach or North Oyster, anyway. And arriving at work at about, when I was the editor, at about 6 or 6:30 or so, and getting down to stripping the wire services and that kind of thing. And I'd generally get home about 7 or 7:30 and go to bed and get up and do it again. And there was the job opening for an editor at the Cowichan Valley Citizen in Duncan, and so I applied for that. And so it was. I was sad to leave. Jillian Trumper was mayor then, and she was. I really liked her. She was a great mayor, and all that.
She was.
Really enjoyed the community and all the great recreation facilities and stuff. So.
Yeah,
well, I missed it. Yeah.
Great place to raise kids and everything for sure, and a nice small town atmosphere, but with enough stuff for them to do to keep them out of trouble. Too much trouble anyway.
Yeah. The community was past its heyday then. It was just, the mills were starting to struggle. I don't think any of them had closed yet by that point, but people you could see the writing on the wall that there was going to be a downturn. But it's really neat. I was really excited to see the city being able to reclaim some of the waterfront, because I thought while I was here that was a really important thing to be able to do, to first of all clean up the pulp effluent from the inlet, and secondly to be able to get people, down to the shore again, kind of thing. But it's a tough transition,
absolutely,
because you got to lose, hundreds of jobs to get there.
Yes, yeah, it's unfortunate, and I know I sometimes I think, well, one day the pulp mill is going to go, and that waterfront will be lovely if we take the mill out of there. But at the same time, boy, that's going to take a big bite out of the economy in this town. So it would be hard to lose it.
Yeah. Sorry to see even some of the sawmill operations starting to struggle a little. Are they still logging along the inlet and so on? Is it still fairly active? So the supply is there.
Lots of logging going on, and some of it gets processed here, but a lot of it, the logs get trucked out of the valley and on to other places. And sold overseas, loaded onto the barges.
I never understood how the raw log. I mean, I do understand the money in it, but why they're allowed to just keep doing that instead? They keep talking about value added, but they never seem to get there.
Yeah. There's some happening. At least the Sand Brothers had a mill here that just closed recently, and now apparently there's an outfit from Ucluelet is moving in there, and they're going to build modular homes on the site.
Oh.
Yeah, and using as much local material as they can and stuff. So, are they from Tofino?
That's what I've heard. Tofino.
Oh, okay. It's
interesting to hear the Prime Minister talk about wanting modular homes, but it's a business that in Canada anyway has kind of struggled to this point. It sort of had a lot of fanfare, and then it kind of never went anywhere.
Yeah. I think they have to find the right product and make it really appealing in ways that custom builds aren't. And so not just in terms of efficiency, but extra added features that make it seem like more than a modular home. That it has a greater appeal. And it makes sense to do it inside a factory.
Homes it'd be more in Eastern Canada, but the brick homes, like 2 stories and fairly narrow, and they're all over Southern Ontario. I mean, they were really that back then, that a form of modular housing, to
Totally.
put people in a time of
I guess-
need with a government program to support it, that was, and they're beautiful old homes. So,
Oh yeah, cookie cutters though for sure. Yeah, those houses. But I mean, I go to Toronto to visit my son sometimes, and there's still lots and lots of those houses still standing, inhabited, and functioning very well. They must have built them pretty strong.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just about to get started, so really glad to have you here, Brian, and looking forward to hear you reading from Rise of the Jellies. And I love the cover of your book, so I can't wait to hear what was on the inside.
Oh, well,
That's what I
I'll
was just
try
gonna
to
say.
give you an idea of that. And thank you to everyone who's involved in helping to put this on. It's really cool what you're doing. Opportunities like this for new writers are pretty scarce.
Yeah, we all bow to Char for what she does to make this happen because without her it would be impossible for sure. So
I will.
yeah. All right.
I'm in the midst of stuff here.
Oh,
There we go.
Now we feel more comfortable now that Derek is back. Thank you.
Now that I'm fed and watered.
Yes,
We missed you.
Yeah. Well, next month I'll be back in person. I can't wait. Yeah. And September is going to be a great one because we're going to have David and Kathleen there. And who else is coming? There's somebody else coming.
Atma.
I think she's coming.
Atma
in
is
person,
coming. That's
I
right.
think.
Yeah.
Atma. Yeah, they're reserved downstairs. Pardon me?
Yeah, she's coming too, right? In person, right?
Atma. Yeah, she's staying downstairs, and David and Kathleen are staying downstairs. Don't we love David and Kathleen's new camera? Everyone looks beautiful. I'm just looking.
Very nice.
We've upgraded our Zoom, and the picture.
Everything looks great.
You're stunning.
I don't know. Even
That
Mark
may
does,
not
like,
be a
turn
good
person.
thing if I'm in clearer focus.
You're
Maybe should be
good.
blurred.
Just so you know,
Okay, Jennifer's a bit blurred. If you, how do you feel inside?
No,
You
I
feel
maybe
blurred
should be
inside?
blurred. I'm not sure that putting me in clearer focus is altogether good.
oh, come on, Jennifer.
We can hear you clearly.
So, Derek, just so you know that Jennifer's number 11. She did email, and I forgot to put her on the list. Sorry, Jennifer.
I'm
Yeah,
calling-
I saw that you'd missed me there, Karl.
It's a busy day.
I thought, well, it's just a
With
hint,
me?
or
Yeah,
Hello.
it's Derek. I don't know. It's really hot in here, 27 Celsius. So
my
we've only
goodness.
got one brave person. Robbie Van just arrived. We're all sweating.
Okay. So,
I think you guys might all have AC air conditioning, right?
yeah. Well, I'm close to
got
the
air
ocean where I am, and it moderates it, so it's really not too bad.
If
Yeah.
you don't, hopefully there's a wind coming through your window there,
Yeah.
Leslie.
What about Leslie? Yeah.
Well, we don't need we don't have air conditioning in Germany.
Oh,
It doesn't get hot there?
Not really. Maybe maybe like 2 or 3 days a year, but
okay. That's how I feel here. It's only 2 or 3 weeks a year that it's 100 degrees.
oh no.
Maybe they
Don't have
say-
any-
It's all July and August, up even into September. So there's a few months. Okay, are we ready?
So, are we ready, Char?
I haven't. Okay, we're all ready? Okay. Electric Mermaid MC Derek Hanebury is a Portable writer, a poetry fiction and creative nonfiction who taught writing here at Northern College for many years. His new book, Something Else Altogether, is now out.
Thank you so much, Karl, and welcome everybody, and to the brave souls there at Char's that are weathering the heat. Welcome to the July episode of the Electric Mermaid. It's being controlled and zoomed to you by Char there in Port Alberni on the unceded territory of the Hepetcheseth and the Sishat First Nation. I'm zooming to you from the Comox First Nations unceded territory here in the beautiful Comox Valley. So looking forward to this evening, and as always, we've got our stable of open micers there, chomping at the bit with their mostly new material. I'm sure that seems to be what comes through, and can't wait to hear it all. And we're also very happy to have Brian Wilford here as our feature. So for those of you who might have missed the conversation beforehand, Brian was a Port Alberni journalist and editor of the local paper for a few years back in the 90s. Is living over on the other side in Qualicum Bay now, or Qualicum Beach. And so we're happy to have him there in person, and I hope he's not too hot and sweaty. But anyway, we'll look forward to what he's got to share with his new book, Rise of the Jellies. A fabulous title. So without further ado, I just want to say a big thank you again to Char for taking care of us on Zoom and live in person there. There she is. Thank you. Big round of applause for you and all you do. And I'll thank everybody else later, because I want to get right down into the readers here. And Lesli is joining us all the way from Germany in the middle of the night, and we've got her first up, so she's going to snap to. And what are you going to share with us this evening, Lesli?
This story, actually, I wrote it a while ago, but then I rewrote it. And I was kind of surprised at myself, because it's called The Portrait. And Germany has a dark past, I guess everybody knows. And I didn't realize until I finished it that, wow, okay, it's still there in my mind sometimes. You know, this beautiful country, all these beautiful friends we have. And still sometimes we have like war memorials in every village that, you know, from the war. And anyhow, so sometimes it comes out. All right, The Portrait.
Number 12. Thank you.
She couldn't sleep. Upstairs it had long gone quiet. She stood at the window and stared out at the street, out to the public village square with a war memorial that displayed the names of villagers who had died in both wars. Last summer they had planted bushes and set up benches in the square, though she was hesitant to use them. Although, she told herself, it didn't matter anymore. They had long since erased any thoughts of what they had done or why. Now when the weather was good, the village children would gather there after school. They seemed to like the high bushes and the colorful flowers and watching the cars which passed through the village. Sometimes tourists would park their cars and get out to see the war memorial. It was made of stone, and the golden stars over the names of all the war dead sparkled in the sun. The street lanterns were out now, and everything was dark. Somewhere in the distance, the light from a window flickered. Probably someone like me, she thought, who can't sleep. She waved in the dark to no one. She remembered that back there, she had also stood looking across to the neighbors' houses, at the passing cars, at the lone figures stumbling back to their houses. That was years before she had become part of this world, where the nights were pitch black. Back there, it was never dark. Back there as a kid, she had sometimes gone out in the night and hidden herself in the shadow of the lanterns and listened to the hushed talk of the neighbors on their porches, to their secrets which were not meant for children's ears, stories told in the shadow of the night which could not be uttered in the day. Now the darkness hit her in the face as she opened the door to the porch. The air hadn't cooled much from the day. She opened her mouth and took a deep breath, gobbling it up as if she could quench her yearning. She stepped down onto the grass. It was moist under her feet. It had started to drizzle. Are you still awake? She turned around. She hadn't heard him standing in the doorway. I can't sleep. He paused. Should I put you on a cup of tea? In a minute. I just want to stand here for a minute. Don't get wet. She heard the uncertainty in his voice, felt his closeness behind her in the dark. She knew he would stand there for a minute, clutching her silhouette. Even without words, she could feel the worry in his breathing. the worry that the darkness would swallow her the way it had swallowed the rest of the world. "Don't get wet," he said again. He turned to go to the kitchen and fill the kettle. It was raining harder now. "Terrible weather," she said. She liked it, though. She liked the feel of the cold water on her skin. She liked the way her wet hair clung to her head. She liked the way her nightgown stuck to her breasts. Even the feel of the wet grass under her feet. Maybe she could take a walk through the garden, she thought. Walk under the eaves and then through the trees. "You're getting wet. Come back inside. Hot tea will do you good." He waited. "Yes," she said. She stepped back onto the porch. "Hot tea will be good."
Beautiful.
Mm.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was mesmerizing and so moody. I love that line that she could feel him behind her, clutching her silhouette. That was like, whoa, that was gold. Anyway, that had a real Hemingway feel to it, too. Love that, Leslie. Thank you so much for starting us off
Thank you.
on a dark and somber tone, but a juicy one. That was very good. Awesome. Okay, boy, we're going to go get you early tonight. David Kipling is up next on his new camera and mic that Char helped him get teed up this afternoon. And yeah, it is very clear. Look at that. My goodness.
Where am I? Oh, there we are. Good. Thank
There you
you,
are.
Char, for helping out. I'm looking forward to next week. It's unmuted. Good. Hang on. It's unmuted. I'm looking forward to next week because it means I can hit the scotch. You see, I'm a Puritan. I will not have scotch in the house. But when I find the scotch out of my house, then I hit the scotch.
There we go. And I'm sure Char is going to have your favorite bottle waiting, David.
Yes. So I've put this hat on to remind everyone. I'm sure everyone there knows that the August the 9th and the 10th is the 26th running of the Seashell drag races. And we get some competitors over from the island, from Powell River, from Lower Mainland. So remember to come on over, only $10 at the gate or $60 if you want to run your car. Okay, end of commercial. Okay, this is, if I just wrote dinner time, rite of passage. Here we go. Young Tom patted his new driver's license and grinned. He was alive, the war was over, 1946, he had a license and there was money to be made. Tom's father, Albert, had winked when Gypsy John Vanner dropped by to deliver a gearbox. Gypsy John had wondered aloud whether there might be a lively young driver anywhere who would be up for a nighttime job. £20 cash and no questions asked. 20 quid was something here in 1946. Careful, son, Albert had murmured. Careful, son, Albert had murmured when young Tom had said yes, he would come down to Gypsy John's scrapyard and drive Vanner's truck that evening to Southampton and back. Southampton was bustling in 1946, still stacked high with American war materiel, and barely 30 miles south of where Gypsy John Vanner's extended clan prospered discreetly in war and in peace on its wasteland empire. John was not a gypsy, but he liked to bolster the rumour by wearing an earring under his black hair. Tom rode his motorbike to the Venner settlement and had climbed into the low-bed truck and trailer. Drive on, young Tom, I'll follow in the car. When you get to the American zone of the docks, look for gate 3 and park near it. Lights off and put your trailer ramp down. Then get back in and mind your own business. Remember, it's 20 quid in your wallet by the time you go home. Tom was driving a semi-trailer whose old company name had been brush-painted over. It had no ignition key, but 2 bare wires twisted together under the dashboard. Don't worry, lad, it's all legal and above board, Johnny had said. Southampton had been battered by the war. Its street lighting was poor, its roads and buildings marked by fire and bomb damage, and parts of the city were lawless after dark. The truck bounced and banged over every railroad crossing and pothole. Once in a while, he spotted Johnny's car headlights bobbing far behind. Floodlights lit up the wire fence around the US Army compound. Tom spotted gate number 3 far ahead and fought the heavy truck onto the grass verge and doused the lights. The GI on sentry duty stood motionless when Gypsy John drove up. The tall wire fence began to tremble and a section of it collapsed onto the ground. The clatter of a diesel engine rattled Tom's window and he watched a Caterpillar tractor roll on its tracks through the gap. A GI leapt off and disappeared back into the base. Gypsy John climbed on and drove the 15 tons of bulldozer up the ramp and lurched to a halt, making the truck shake. He called, "Go, go, go." Young Tom fired the engine and dropped the clutch. Gypsy John ran back to the gate to hand the sentry a newspaper before jumping back into his car. The sentry stepped back to his post and stood to attention, looking fixedly at the stars in the night sky. Tom followed Gypsy John's car back out of Southampton. They both turned into a hedge-lined country road and past dark fields until they both halted by a farm gate. Gypsy John backed the bulldozer off the truck. Tom wound down his window and asked John, "What next? They haven't gone back to the settlement." "This is its home now," said John. "Nothing to do with us." He added, "Follow me just a couple of miles." They stopped on an empty stretch of road. "Tommy, do me a little favour. Drive into that ditch. Do it, that's it. Now hop in my car and forget this. Just a motor accident in the night, nothing to do with us, right?" Gypsy John used a crowbar to smash the truck's headlights and fenders, puncture a front tyre and the fuel tank. He tossed a glowing cigarette. "See, some poor chap must have crashed his truck and left it." They drove back to the Venner camp. John leaned over. "Good lad, Tom. Here's 20 for you and another 10 for your dad for raising a smart son." Tom rode his motorcycle happily back home. 5 a.m, the sky was beginning to lighten, and unknown to Tom, back at the settlement, the car was already a bare frame and piles of spare parts in the maze of the scrapyard. Tom pulled off his goggles and helmet before opening the back door and smelling his father's first pipe of the day. "All right?" Albert called to him from the kitchen. "Yes, Dad, got something for you." "Shush, tuck it in the phone box. In the phone book. Better wash and change. Be on the forecourt by 7. End of story. I give up.
Don't you dare. No, that was great. Journey into the underworld of there must have been so much crime. I mean, when you've been through a war where all morality has sort of gone out the window and there's all this machinery and everything laying around, I'm sure a lot of it went on. But,
I knew of a farmer who had 6 5-ton American trucks in a barn, and he'd had them there since 1946, and this was in the year 2000. And he got them for nothing, and he didn't want to be rid of them. He never used them, but they were his. You know, he got hold of them, so he was going to hang on to them. I think he died and never did use them. Okay.
Well, I think there's a story in there too, David.
There's a story. Sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. All right, it's time for our feature, and Brian Wilford is going to make his way up to the mic at the podium there and share with us from his book, Rise of the Jellies, which you've got to show the cover of it, Brian, because for those who might not have caught it in the newspaper article or the post online there, it's kind of, Char's going to zoom in on it as much as you can. There's this woman with this look of terror as this giant jellyfish looms in the back, hanging in the sky. It's got comic horror written all over it. I love it. So welcome to Char's Landing, and glad to have you back in your old working stomping grounds at least. And I hope you're not too hot there, Brian. But we're really looking forward to what you got to share with us this evening. You've got about 20 minutes to read, and then we'll have like a 10-minute Q&A afterwards if people have questions they want to ask. And I know I'll probably have a few. So the stage is yours, my friend. Relax, take your time, enjoy, and we're going to soak it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me this evening. Rise of the Jellies is the deep message is underneath is satire on our response to climate change, science. Oh, am I doing something wrong? No, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, science identifies the problem and the solution, but things only get worse because all we try to do is sell stuff. And how the reason I got to flying jellyfish is I was reading an article about what jellyfish are doing in our warming, acidic, polluted, overfished oceans, and they're thriving, and that's not a good thing. Um, and however, the author lamented that because it's underwater, it's out of sight and out of mind, and so it's hard to really get anyone to care about it. And so I was lying in bed in the dark, and instead of thinking about women, I was thinking about jellyfish. And got to wondering what if they could pop out of the water and rise up into the ocean of air and do what they were doing to the surface world, what they were doing underwater. So it's not necessarily a Godzilla type story of rampaging jellyfish, though there are elements of that. It tries to stick to the science and so forth. So we'll get to the story. I need to I'm going to start with what is a short chapter introducing Qualicum Beach, but just to bring people up to that point. A woman, Emma Tooney, rows out into the Strait of Georgia off Qualicum Beach in her skiff and encounters a jellyfish popping up out of the ocean and causes her to have an accident in her boat, and she bunks her head and is rescued by Deep Bay Marine Search and Rescue. And she's talking about a flying jellyfish, and so they decide that she should be taken to the hospital in Nanaimo, where she continues to talk about flying jellyfish, and so they decide to hold her and that she maybe needs to be assessed for a few days. But while she's in there, other flying jellyfish appear, including on the island media, and the story goes from there. And so we'll start with this introduction to Qualicum Beach. Emma, while she's let out of the hospital, and they give her $5 for the bus, and while she's at the bus stop, she realizes that she's left her house unlocked, and she hopes it's okay. So Emma Tooney needn't have worried about her home. Qualicum Beach, population 9,000, is the most elderly town in Canada, average age 61. They call it God's waiting room. On the rare occasion when an addict breaks into a home or a business, the police are there in a couple of minutes with a pretty good idea of who done it. They know almost all the local lowlifes and are adept at scooping them up and encouraging them to leave town. This is the kind of service you get when your town is overwhelmingly white and wealthy, full of golf-loving retired corporate executives who paid good money for quaint and clean, and they expect it to be kept that way. Many of them made their fortunes in the oil patches of the neighboring provinces of Alberta and Saskatchewan. Now retired to the coast, they're opposed to pipelines, oil tankers, and anything else that threatens their beloved orcas and rhododendrons. Oil and money over there, nature and beauty over here. The tone was set more than a century ago by the town's founder, the ironically named General Money, who retired to the area after serving the British Empire with distinction in the Second Boer War and First World War. He built a magnificent estate overlooking the Strait and mountains, and then added the picturesque Qualicum Beach Memorial Golf Course to keep his guests entertained. To this day, Qualicum Beach so suffers from English envy that it even has an official town crier, an actual English gentleman who leads parades and pronounces at special civic events. Dressed in a gold-trimmed red frock coat with white ruffles, white breeches, black boots, and a black tricorn hat, he rings a big handbell and cries, "Oyez, oyez, oyez." The The town's downtown core, as they call the 3 blocks on one street, fancies itself an English village. The town hall and the lone grocery store are both done up in faux Tudor, each with a clock tower. The rest of the core is full of small, quaint shops, mostly owned as hobbies by rich retirees who don't really care if they sell anything, even in the run-up to Christmas. Town Councillor Dave Hornmeyer was well attuned to all this local lore. He was old Qualicum. He had taken over village pharmacy from his dad and was actually one of the few entrepreneurial types who needed to make a buck in his hometown. Short, portly, and balding, Hornmeyer had been involved in the local Chamber of Commerce long before running for a seat on the 5-member town council. He was always promoting and organizing the summer market, the fall market, beach day, moonlight madness, Christmas in the village, anything to inject a little life, a little energy, a little vitality, a little commerce. Alas, the market days resulted in a half-dozen sorry-looking tables of paperback books, plastic picnicware, and hiking socks pushed out onto the sidewalk and presided over by glowering shopkeepers suspicious of shoplifters and pissed off at being kept open an extra hour. Beach day was a forlorn bouncy castle and a straggle of booths where you could join the local stream keepers group and learn more about a $50 rebate on low-flush toilets. Last Christmas, just 6 shops, 6 in a town of 9,000 people, even bothered to stick a string of lights or a piney tree branch in their windows. Hornmeyer couldn't even get the pretty little town to promote itself as a vacation destination. Whenever he tried, he was met with, "Wouldn't that bring in a lot of outsiders, litter, crime?" The inference being, just like in grotty neighboring Parksville, which promoted itself as a beach resort community. Yuck, Parksville. This, however, was going to be too big an opportunity to pass up. "If we don't claim the title of Flying Jellyfish Capital of the World," Hornmeyer thundered to a closed meeting of the town's council, "Parksville will. We were first. Our Emma was attacked. She was eaten. That's what the people want." "Oh, great," countered Councillor Barry Seabrook, a trim, retired insurance executive whose gray hair was ever neatly parted and combed. "So we promote our town by associating it with malevolent mutant blobs. Come and be stung. Come and be eaten." "Exactly," replied Hornmeyer, slapping his hand on the gleaming boardroom table. "For once, you and I are on the same page." In truth, people were already starting to trickle into town. The handful of motels and inns along the shore were pretty full. Some of the guests were media, but media spend money too. "We can't let this slide," Hornmeyer pressed on. "We have to be on top of this. We have to be proactive. We have to be engaged. We have to act now." In the end, in a 3-2 vote, Council agreed to forward the matter to its next public meeting a week hence, when they would debate a motion to hire a consultant to write a report and make recommendations. Hornmeyer couldn't suppress a grin. In Qualicum Beach, this was progress. This was the town council out on a limb. This was sanction. He'd been given the green light. For the next chapter in, thank you. The Chamber and Councillor Hornmeyer have started a jellyfish festival committee, and there's a dancing man thing with those fan-powered puppet things with dangly things down, and they've got helium balloons along the main drag with dangly things from that, and they're thinking about getting jellyfish ambassadors with domed umbrellas to protect the visitors from the jellyfish and that kind of thing. So that a lot of other stuff happened, but that is enough to get us up to this point. The calls started coming into the Qualicum Beach Town Hall that morning. "There's a jellyfish in my tree. My dog got stung trying to eat a jellyfish." Or even just, "I see one, I see one." The flying jellyfish were drifting into town, propelled by the daily flux of land and sea breezes. Scattered here and there, they appeared to be mostly moon jellies, along with the odd lion's mane. People were enthralled by their shimmering beauty. It was like a sparkling jewel. It was glowing, glowing pink, my favorite color. The coffee shops were abuzz. Even the town council's finance committee meeting that morning had ended up being about flying jellyfish. After the meeting, Councillor Dave Hornmeyer was holding court at his usual table in a vintage car-themed greasy spoon. I've got calls into all the TV stations, he told a dozen or so retirees and merchants. But if you see a jellyfish anywhere, video it with your phone and post it on the internet. If you don't know how to do it, find someone who does. What's the rush, Dave? Asked Kevin, a retired federal bureaucrat and a regular at town council meetings. Why don't we form a committee to develop a policy on how we're going to handle this? Hornmeyer, a political animal to the core, had learned to smile like a best friend when what he really wanted to do was scream. Well, Kevin, he replied blandly, I think that's a great idea and something we're already doing on an ad hoc basis through the chamber. But I think we also need to move a little more quickly. Get on this right away. These flying blobs could be anywhere, and we want the world to see that they're here in Qualicum Beach. You want to see flying jellyfish? You want the best flying jellyfish? Then come to Qualicum Beach. Heads nodded in agreement, the merchants' heads especially. Get on this right away, echoed Lana from the candy shop. Are the TV stations coming? The island stations are driving up as we speak, said Hornmeyer, sounding like the commander of Desert Storm. The Vancouver stations are helicoptering in from the mainland and will be landing at our airport. I've arranged for some people with vans to meet them. This is going to be big. Notably not included in Hornmeyer's grand plans was the town's long-serving mayor, Wim Zanderbaum. A retired school teacher who was tall, thin, graying, and classically handsome, with a winning toothpaste commercial smile. Today, however, sitting alone in his office in the town hall, the mayor was feeling uneasy. Like most of Qualicum Beach, he didn't like change. He liked things the way they were. Flying jellyfish represented change, and that meant they needed to be regarded with suspicion. He had studiously avoided posing for photos with jellyfish balloons or making any comment about the airborne blobs, except to say they were an interesting natural phenomenon and that people who see one shouldn't call the police. He and Hornmeyer had often clashed over what Hornmeyer regarded as the mayor's lack of enthusiasm for promoting the town. Hornmeyer had a way of making it personal, telling the mayor he was a barrier to progress and to get out of the way. Zanderbaum hated the way Hornmeyer got under his skin, but he could always play his trump card by reminding the councillor that when he had run against him for mayor, Zanderbaum had whipped his butt by a margin of 5-1. So who should get out of the way, he'd taunt the councillor. Zanderbaum smiled at the thought, but then reminded himself of his own rule about not making it personal. Politics was personal, but being the mayor was not. Being the mayor meant being clear-eyed and analytical, doing your homework, making the right decision. Research. He realized with a start that flying jellyfish were invading his town, and he didn't know the first thing about them. He reached for his phone and called his old friend, Dr. Ralph Johnson, president of Vancouver Island University. Ralph, I need to know more about these flying jellyfish. Who can I talk to about them? Do you know of any experts in the field? We have some good people right here at VIU, said Johnson, and a guy at the University of British Columbia is doing world-leading research using drones to study jellyfish biomass in the open ocean. He found 120 tons of them in one bloom, right off the coast of BC. Good Lord, said Zanderbaum, imagine if that could fly. Do you have a number for him? No need, said Johnson. You've called it a good time. I've just learned from some friends in the States that one of the world's leading experts on jellyfish is at this very moment right in your backyard at our research station in Deep Bay. She's here to study the flying jellies. Apparently has one in a box. I've given her full run of the place. Zanderbaum thanked the president, hung up, and grabbed his keys. He could be at the research station in 20 minutes. Just a half block from the town hall, the commercial strip on 2nd Avenue was unusually busy for a weekday afternoon. Alas for the merchants, the people were not in the tiny shops snapping up overpriced chocolates and lingerie. They were out on the street and sidewalks, gawking up at the blue sky. There, shouted one white-haired man, pointing into the air. You can see the sunlight catching it. And indeed, as they craned and squinted, there was a tiny clear blob drifting high in the sky, occasionally flashing a glint of sunlight. "Look, right there," shouted someone else, and the crowd turned in the general direction of the town hall. There, right above the clock tower, hovered a moon jelly, its 4 long arms licking the sloped roof tiles as if wondering, "Is this good to eat?" Apparently deciding otherwise, it drifted off. A couple of vans pulled in down the street and spat out a slew of videographers and reporters. Over here," someone yelled. But the cameras were already rolling. The story, after all, was not about the flying jellyfish, but about the people watching the flying jellyfish. And clearly the inhabitants of Canada's oldest town had nothing better to do today. The news crews were just getting busy scanning the sky and interviewing gawkers when, as if on cue, a monstrous reddish-brown glob wobbled out into Primrose Street between the town hall and the insurance agency. It seemed to have somehow snuck in unnoticed amongst the trees in the town hall square, and now it was slowly making its way up Primrose, past the post office and the corner pharmacy, toward the crowd across 2nd Avenue. The lion's mane, as big across as a home satellite dish, was both grotesque and beautiful, menacing and graceful. It swam through the air with the unhurried, powerful strokes of a long-distance swimmer, its shimmering bell bunching into a tight ball and then pulsing out into a magnificent 8-pointed star. Even though it was floating above the tops of the roofs and trees, its hundreds and hundreds of thin red-tinged tentacles dangled down to the street below. The crowd and the news crews jostled for position, some people shouting and waving, over here, and a few playfully shoving their buddies and yelling, eat him, eat him. Indeed, the jellyfish seemed attracted to the noise and motion, maybe the smell. Hard to tell when something has no ears, eyes, or nose. The crowd wisely parted as the tentacles neared its fringe. Bizarrely, the air was suddenly filled with the loud squawking of a parrot. The bright red, yellow, and green bird was perched on the shoulder of Mick Michaels, a 60-ish, foppish, gray-haired coffee shop layabout who inoffensively wandered the town living off some sort of inheritance. Whenever there promised to be a crowd, Michaels would appear with Mr. Cheeps, dribbling cracker crumbs and grape gunk down Michaels' front and bird shit down his back. Opinion was divided on whether the duo was more charming or disgusting. Mr. Cheeps did not seem to like the approaching jelly, squawking, fussing, and flapping his feckless clipped wings. Michaels tried to stroke the bird, but it grabbed a finger in its big gray beak and bit. "Ow," yelled Michaels. "Mr. Cheeps, what the hell?" Just then, the giant jelly swooped up into the air like an eagle riding an air current and dove into the crowd. A tangle of tentacles wrapped around the parrot and lashed Michaels across his face, neck, and arms. Michaels screamed. Mr. Cheeps screamed. The crowd backed away, but one man tried to rip the tentacles from Michaels' face. "Ow," he cried, jerking his hand away. Michaels was down on his knees, ripping and flailing. Bits of tentacles scattering on the street and sidewalk. Spectators could now clearly see the frilly mass of reddish-brown oral arms on the underside of the lion's mane. Waving like a grand old queen, the arms surrounding the jelly's mouth packed a venomous punch far more potent than the tentacles. The crowd stood back stunned as Michaels collapsed to the ground and the jellyfish arms began to embrace Mr. Cheeps. Get a stick, a woman yelled, but it was too late. Wobbling like a drunk, the lion's mane began to lift into the air, bright red, yellow, and green feathers sticking out through the mass of arms and tentacles. Suddenly, Mr. Cheeps' bright red head stuck out through the tentacles. His gray beak opened in a last desperate, feeble "Awk!" His beady black eyes pleading to the crowd. "My God, help him," a woman cried, but her God must have been busy. Seconds later, Mr. Cheeps was out of reach, the bright feathers and shimmering jelly beautiful and terrible against the blue sky. Michaels was writhing on the ground, frantically rubbing at his face and arms. Help me, he mewled. "Pee on him," a woman yelled. "Yes, pee on him," others chimed in. "Pee on him, it takes away the sting." After some hesitation, 3 old men stepped forward and unzipped their flies. It took them a bit to get going, what with the crowd and the cameras, but then one had a little spurt, and soon all three were going, doing their best to aim at Michael's blistering face. What the hell? No, stop, screamed Michaels, rolling over to cover his face with his arms. The men trained their golden streams on his arms and the back of his neck, while he flailed and writhed. It doesn't seem to be working, said one of the men, as his stream waned to a dribble. Work for me, said another with a smile, zipping up his fly. An ambulance siren could be heard in the distance, and the crowd began to back away. I don't know, can we use any of this? An attractive young reporter asked her cameraman. It's pretty gross. Use is not the word, replied her paunchy, grizzled cameraman with a grin. We need this uploaded and online right now. This is big time, baby. He turned up his camera. On the evening news, the parting shot would be of Mr. Cheeps, now a reddish speck against the bright blue sky. That's it. Thank you. Maybe
Oh my God. Oh, that was hilarious. Brilliant. Just brilliant, Brian. I love that. Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Where to begin? I've got a few questions I want to ask, but I'll just get other people perking here while I do. Um, I don't know if you've heard about the UAP phenomena lately. You know, the unidentified aerial phenomena, the UFOs that look like jellyfish. Have you heard about those?
No.
Well, apparently, you know, the drones mixed in with the drones, there are people they have uploaded these clips of these things that actually look like jellyfish. So I kept thinking about that while I was listening to you, among many other things. But
one interesting thing is that jellyfish can look like pretty much anything you want. They come in every size, shape, color you can think of. There's some that are hollow, bumpy tubes, and they have all sorts of creatures living inside of them, and they move by jet propulsion. You know, there's one that's shaped like a prism, and reflects all the, you know, whenever light, that's all the colors of the rainbow glint off it. So you could use your, you know, let your imagination run wild and try to create a jellyfish, and there'd be something even stranger swimming in the ocean.
yeah, absolutely. Oh, fantastic. I need to correct what I said earlier when I said that you lived in Qualicum Beach, but you actually live in French Creek. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So for those
is that because they wouldn't let you live in Qualicum Beach? I'm just asking out of curiosity.
Oh, that is.
For those who don't know, French Creek is just south of Qualicum Beach, halfway between Parksville and Qualicum Beach. So,
Sorry.
Another community where that they may have some difficulty allowing him to live, but anyways, so safely in between.
Yeah.
I certainly enjoyed the whole portrayal of Qualicum. It was really, I mean, at first when you started reading, I thought, oh, why is he starting there? And then once you started, I thought, what a brilliant selection. But I sort of thought, I hear, you know, the kind of close observation of somebody who was a journalist and then being able to say the things he wasn't allowed to say.
But there is a good side. Jellyfish are edible. Certain species are edible, and they're a delicacy in Southeast Asia. So crunch away. They're quite nice deep fried, I hear.
Lots of sauce, only 12 calories per ounce, something like that. So good for dieting.
Oh my God.
There's a very large jellyfish. It's the size called Nomura's jellyfish. It's the size and shape of a refrigerator. It's massive. Each one can carry 1 billion eggs and the size of a grain of rice, and they can grow in full-grown Nomura in like 6 months. But there's a big industry fishing for them off of China and Japan, and so I guess lots of people eat them.
Yeah. And I think the industry evolved because they started showing up in such great numbers that it was killing the other fisheries or something. So they just turned onto that, if I remember correctly. I remember reading about that a few years back. But
running out of other things to eat. Things that we fish for, salmon and sea turtles are jellyfish predators. So that's one reason why there's getting to be more and more jellyfish is that we eat things that eat them.
Wow.
Or yes, someone had a question.
Sorry, like the circle of life. I just wanted to say I'm learning so much about jellyfish tonight and the nature around us. Like legitimately, though, it's very interesting to me. But at the beginning of your story, when you were reading, I actually thought this was like nonfiction, and everybody get a good laugh about that because my girlfriend Julia did.
No, I could see that because I wanted to. I found that when you have an absurd premise, you have to. Becomes a requirement to make other things at least sort of credible, And I'm setting it in contemporary Qualicum Beach, so there's a lot of it.
I looked at her at one point and was like, "Have you heard about this?" She says to me, "No, because I think it's fiction." But that's just whether it's fiction or nonfiction. There's so much in what you read that has literally taught me a lot about the life around us, and I love that. So I just wanted to give you a little laugh and let you know I was.
Oh, thank you. It was when I started out doing it. The rule was that it had to be fun to write and fun to read. That was. I wasn't going to.
That should be the number one rule.
And have my time, occupied by something that depressed me or something.
Agreed.
So I had a lot of fun with it.
Be like, oh my God, this.
I had a lot of fun also with the media throughout the book and making fun of them, since that was my profession for so many years. It's great to get a few digs.
Oh, zing all the way. Thank you, though. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
So Mark Wonneck, you live in Qualicum Beach, right?
I just need to step up here because this is my hood, really, and I mean it was I can definitely, you got it pretty good. You missed the excitement of garbage day. Like you didn't mention how exciting it is when garbage day happens. A couple other things, but otherwise it was pretty good. You know what I was thinking though the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but when he got to the scary bits at the end there, is I remember when I first saw Jaws, back when I was a kid, and I was afraid to go into Lake Winnipeg, even though, because you can't see in Lake Winnipeg. It's because it's so murky. It's all kind of silty and disgusting, really. But we used to swim in there, and I was afraid a shark would get me in there. And now I'm afraid of walking down Primrose in Qualicum Beach and getting annihilated by like this parrot-eating jellyfish. That's where I'm at right now. So, thanks very much. I loved it. I thought it was just hilarious. God.
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah.
I have one.
Atma, did you have a question there?
Yes, please. I was in Australia a little over 40 years ago with my son, and we were up near Rockhampton, and where the rivers come out, because jellyfish lay there in the rivers. But it was like walking through tapioca with these little eggs that came out of the river, billions of the things. So surfers in the summertime, because that's when the jellyfish come out, they wear stockings over their entire body. And that's enough to keep the stingers off, so they can still get out in the waves and look good in their pantyhose. So that's always good to hear about.
Thank you. Well, the heroine, if you want to call her that, it's really kind of like a Michael Crichton style team of people that get together. But the jellyfish expert in the book is an Australian, based very loosely on Lisa Ann Gershwin, who's lives in Tasmania, and whenever there's a bad stinging episode in that part of the world, she gets to be on TV while they ask her about the jellyfish and so on. And some of the very nasty, lethal jellyfish that are in Australia and Southeast Asia and so on do find their way into the book. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it's not all moon jellies and lion's manes.
All right. I think we got time for one last question. Atma, did you have one?
Oops.
Oh my goodness.
That's
You have to do that without the helium, honey. There's something going on with your mic. My goodness.
I didn't hear any of, if
No,
you've
I
done
didn't
it speaking, sorry, I didn't hear any of
Atma, just put it in the chat.
Yeah, maybe, put it in the chat and we'll ask from there.
It had a bit of a jellyfish sound to it, didn't it? Like that's what I was
exactly.
yeah, no, that's what I was
Exactly.
thinking.
Yes.
I'm afraid for Atma
Gibsons.
now. Yeah.
From Qualicum to Gibsons right away.
Oh my gosh. This is serious. Oh gosh. I hope she's okay. I hope she's okay.
Maybe the translation was, I've got one on my foot.
Exactly. Exactly. Gosh.
Oh dear. Anyway, okay. Yeah, Atma's getting tech help, so yeah, we'll maybe have to leave her question for later. We'll have a little time at the end there, and but anyway, Brian, that was wonderful, and I just want to let people know where to. I'll let you let people know where best to pick up a copy of your book. I think you've whet our appetites enough. I'm sure some of us are going to be jumping online to pick up a copy.
Well, you could go to riseofthejellies.com. It's also on Amazon.ca and .com. It's on Indigo chapters. I think Barnes and Noble's just in the States. And Fireside Books in Parksville, which owns the Bookworm in Port Alberni, was getting in some copies, so there may be copies there. I find, even though the book trade hates them, that it's hard to beat Amazon's prices when it comes to books. Maybe I should say that, but it's true. So I'd certainly check them. And Indigo Chapters is competitive as well.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Atma, I see you're back. Do you want to try your mic again?
Yeah, it should work now, I think.
Beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, my comment was just I really enjoyed the combination of science, humor, but also the criticism on all of the inaction of the government and yeah, I thought it was a really great combination of those three elements.
Yeah, satire at its best. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Brian. Please relax and enjoy the rest of the evening. Your hard work is done now.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. All right, we're going to go back out into Zoom land now, and Peter Paul Van Camp is our next reader up. And how are you this evening, Peter? There he is.
I am very well, and I certainly enjoyed Brian's reading very much. I know Qualicum Beach a little bit, and that's the town I know. Anyhow, I'd like to try and read two pieces this evening. The first of these, I probably will go some distance toward explaining why it is that I've been cutting my own hair all these years. Now, when I was a young boy in the town in which I grew up, there was a fellow named Mr. Pearly Sweet who used to park himself outside the barber shop. And whenever a boy or a man would walk out freshly shorn and feeling very vulnerable, Mr. Sweet would choose that moment to deliver what he considered an improving lecture. So this is a transcript of one of his diatribes. It's called Mr. Sweet Pipes Up. Oh, and I should mention, several times you'll hear me utter the words "erk, patoo," and that is meant to exemplify the sound of Mr. Sweet expectorating tobacco juice on the pavement. All right, Mr. Sweet pipes up. There's an old gentleman, Mr. Sweet, on the bench by the barber shop. He keeps a seat, chews mail pouch tobacco, gets juice on the street, and just between you and me, he's a grouchy old cuss. Now, when a boy gets a haircut and steps out on the street, itching down his collar, like he's got the prickly heat, mussing up the combing, doesn't like to look so neat, and wishing for his dollar back to stand himself a treat. Oh, and looking out for pals of his he doesn't care to meet. Patoo! His tickly hackle hairs feel the glare of Mr. Sweet. Well, for crying out loud, will you look at who's gussied up? Come and chin a spell. Get your ears lowered, sonny? Knew you went in there for something. Didn't think you're lollygagging here just to chew the fat. Patoo! Or did you think it's a saloon? Were you looking for a drink? You better learn to take the stuff or let the stuff alone. Looks to me you're feeling poorly. Don't they feed you where you live? I didn't have no lunch. Body's got to have sustenance. You take what you eat and eat what you take and keep your cotton-picking elbows off the table. Patoo! I suppose your generation never learned no manners. By Jehoshaphat! You're sharp as a scissors. Who went south with all your gumption? Must have been behind the door when he was handing out opinions. Take the marbles out your mouth. Don't speak till you're spoke to. Do as I'm telling you, not as I do. Patoo! Mind your elders and your betters. Why, when I was your age, we said please and said thank you. Caught it if we didn't. If I had my druthers, I'd put you across my knee, give you what for. And if they don't like it, no skin off my teeth. I wouldn't stay in this town if they given me the whole place and 6 more like it. Know what your trouble is? Patoo! Well, that's for me to know and for you to find out. Concern it. Why can't you go tell your ma she wants you? Keep your nose clean and be back in 2 weeks. And don't tell me I never done you no favors. And how do you like them apples? Now, friends, I forgot my jacket one time hanging at the barber's. I didn't like to go and get it, but I knew I better had. I tried to sneak my way inside. Mr. Sweet looks up, surprised. When I come right out again, he parks his wad and slaps his thigh. Patoo! Knew they wouldn't give you another. This ain't a saloon, you know. Now you just chase home to your mother. Give your hair a chance to grow. Hold your horses there, whirl away. I never said skedaddle. Well, for crying out loud, will you look at who's gussied up? Come and chin a spell. Get your ears lowered, sonny? No, you went in there for something. Didn't think you lollygagging here just to chew the... Oh, there was an old geezer and he had a wooden leg, and he hadn't no tobacco, so tobacco he would beg. Another old geezer had a wooden crutch. He always had tobacco, but he never had much. Says geezer number 1, won't you give me a chew? Says geezer number 2, well, I'll be darned if I do. If you always save your money and use borax when you wash your socks, you'll always have tobacco in your old tobacco box. Patoo! There. Now, this other one is really my excuse for being here tonight. I just wrote this, and well, I had the most wonderful experience in Winnipeg in January. I'm hoping to convey it to you in these few lines. And this is called Hush. And Hush is pronounced the way you would pronounce it if you were reading Goodnight Moon to a sleepy child. Hush. In a dark and silent room, I hold my sleeping grandson. In a dark and silent room, I sit and hold my sleeping baby grandson in my arms. In a dark and silent room on a frigid January night, I sit and hold my sleeping baby grandson safely in my arms, snug and warm and loved all to flinders, cradled in the darkness and the silence. That's me. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here as always. Thank you so much.
And as always, a pleasure to have you here, Peter. Thank you. That was quite an exercise in contrast, and I enjoyed it. And I knew as soon as you said,
as Brian said, fun to write and darn fun to read too.
Absolutely, yeah. I knew right away when you said it was going to be a good experience in Winnipeg in January that it was going to be indoors. I just knew that right off the crack. Anyway, that was sweet and tender. I love that.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed the other one as well. It was very entertaining. All right. So, Karl, you need to help me out here. Just make sure. So Dan didn't show up. Is that correct?
No, Dan and Joelunch are not here as well. We're going to Atma.
Okay, all right. That's all good, well and good. I guess he wasn't up for braving the heat. So we're gonna go right over to Atma, France there, and I'm so glad you got your mic fixed, Atma. I don't know how it sounded on your end, but it sounded like you had just taken a big draft of helium out of a helium balloon and we're talking this really high, fast voice. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm going to continue the story I started last month. So it's about Arthur, who's an inmate in prison, and it is last 2 months, and he's working in the garden with another inmate, Frank. And where the story ended was that it's the garden of the ward, and no one is supposed to be at home, but the sliding doors opened and 2 little kids came out. So it was just after 10 and they were still in their pajamas. Had they not left? And where was the mother? Arthur gripped the handles of his wheelbarrows and walked on. This was none of his business. The shade of the cherry fell over him like a cooling blanket. He slipped the secateurs into his belt, pulled himself up into the crown, and surveyed the maze of crisscrossing branches. When he was 18, he had worked at a landscaping company. Hating the physical work, he had quit after a year. Now he enjoyed the feeling of his muscles working, the smell of the cut branches, the leaves brushing against his arms. Could he do this work when he got out? He could trade in his old Citroën for a truck. And if he hired a couple of Syrian refugees, he could pay them cash. That way he could launder the stashed away money from his theft. He could come up with a catchy name and a logo painted on the side of his truck and printed on shirts for his guys. That would look really professional. He remembered the way his old boss used to talk to wealthy clients, the way he changed his vocabulary and mannerism, a role Arthur could imitate. He could make a pile of money looking after rich people's gardens like this one. He should take some pictures and make a website. Ask Frank for a phone. Arthur dropped down from the tree and started piling the cut branches into the wheelbarrow. He shouldn't ask Frank for favors. When Arthur got out of prison, he wanted to become an honest man, meet a nice girl, start a family. Let me in, let me in. The boy's shrill voice pulled Arthur from his daydream. The child was trying to hoist himself up onto the stone rim of the fountain and join his sister who was wading around in it, her pajamas drenched up to her waist. Before Arthur got arrested, he used to spend Sundays with his sister and her family. She never let her daughter play on her own in the pink plastic pool, even though it was so shallow. The mother must be watching from inside, Arthur thought, and she'll come out any minute. He piled the last branches onto the wheelbarrow. Still no mother. His stomach twisted the way it used to when he was thieving and something wasn't right. He should get a bit closer, just to make sure the kids were fine. Not wanting to frighten them, he approached the patio at a slow pace. He had always been good at not being noticed. He could blend in anywhere. It was what was keeping him safe in prison, safe from Frank's bullies. Staying close to the bushes, he deadheaded the wilted roses as he went. Meanwhile, the boy ran inside and returned with a plastic mini chair. He climbed on it and flopped into the fountain, water splashing over the rim. He crawled to the stone dolphin and pulled himself up, then patted the snout, which was green with algae. "You're ogling the kiddos?" Frank was right behind Arthur. "Oh, God, no." The children froze, looked straight at Frank, then clambered out of the fountain and ran into the house. Frank crossed his arms, smirking, as if he had something on Arthur. The rambunctious children had indeed awakened a yearning inside Arthur, but not in the way Frank hinted. The grime of prison had seeped into Arthur, choking every pore. He couldn't face having to go back inside this afternoon. How he longed to be free. I think something is wrong, he said. They seem to be on their own. We should go and get a guard. Yeah, right, you're kidding. This is our chance. Instead of getting the guard who was reading a newspaper in the gazebo at the other end of the garden, Frank walked straight to the open sliding doors. Arthur stayed behind at the edge of the bushes and waited. A deep silence fell over the garden. What was Frank up to? Arthur stepped into the pool of sunlight and crossed the patio. Inside the house, it was silent. It smelled nice here, a scent of vanilla and cinnamon. Toy cars were scattered under and around the table. An empty glass bottle lay in a white puddle on the kitchen counter. On the floor, 2 plates with half-eaten sandwiches next to a ripped paper bag, bread slices spilling from it, and a pot of Nutella, a knife stuck in the hazelnut cocoa spread. It looked like the kids had made their own breakfast and had a picnic on the kitchen floor. A wet trail led to a pile of crumbled pajamas near a door at the rear. It opened and Frank appeared, waving his phone as if it was a lollipop. Come on, come here. Rest for next time.
Wow, I can't wait. Thank you, Atma. That was gripping, very gripping.
Thank you.
There's my brain is churning with so many ways this can go and so many ways this can go bad. Yeah, that's excellent tension. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right, we're gonna go back to live and in person, and Robbie Van is there at Char's Landing. She's coming up to the podium. Gonna share some more of her wordplay, magical talents.
Good evening, everybody. I love summertime. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm in my joy right now. So this lovely weather's fabulous. So I don't belong in this reel. What's that? Oh, hello. How are you? Can you hear me, Derek?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Loud and clear, Robbie, loud and clear. The stage is yours.
So I'm a big lover of Lewis Carroll and Alice in Wonderland. And Sheila Carroll, who likes to have a kinship with that wonderful author. The same as I like to have a kinship with Vermeer, because my last name is Vandermeer, Jan Vermeer, the wonderful artist. Anyway, I digress. So I've been writing a lot about Alice. Crumbling at the hole, she falls. Everything's a tumble, way beyond her own control. Oh, how Alice trembled. Going round and round and round, she woke up sitting here. Wonderland's a place of dreams, all beauty, love, not fear. Everywhere there's flowers, trees as tall as towers, birds that dance from limb to limb and built their nests in bowers. The rat-a-tat-tat of a woodpecker's tap as rabbit is rubbing his hand. Everybody yearns for love here in Wonderland. Oh, Alice, you're late as you can be. Welcome to the island, my dear. Rabbit Cottontail, procurer of spectacular wordy treats at your service. The party's at whatever o'clock, don't be late, and I'm the host speaker at the mad Hatters Tea Party this eventide, by the by. No, don't interrupt my speech. I'll just make me later than I already am. It's easy to find. Just follow the path. That's right, left. No, left, right there. Where it says this way, that way, there's also the other way. It'll be clear to you. It's a paradise of fun. So many things to do. And see, it's a vision, really. Alice, I must be off, so follow the path through the wild, wild woods. Bye-bye, see you later. Cheerio, adios, ta-ta. I must be off. Hasta la vista, ciao, baby. So long. Oh, I'm so late. Silly me. I just Keep prevaricating and procrastinating. Adieu. What a silly rabbit. He's always in a dither. What a funny bunny. Sitting on his withers, giving her the point of life, when everyone's a winner. Come live here in Wonderland, where rabbits aren't for dinner. Leave my troubles far behind, from facing many fears. I'm so feeling oh so fine, drying up my tears. Blackbird sings a flash of wings with the moon and stars at night. You've landed here in paradise. Oh, what a beautiful sight. Isn't it amazing that love finds a path? All of world is newly born. Alice skips and laughs. She finds herself alone at last, beneath the swaying trees. Then a Cheshire cat says, "Hello there," looking rather pleased. Contemplating wanderers taste a complicated wit, refined tastes of quirks for sure. The herb at last was lit, and the temporal lobe of the temperate zone is a choice place to explore. You'll always find just what you need in nature's herbal store. Oh, the sun in the sky is as high and it floats, and peace in the quiet as you drift like a boat, and the cry of the heron that sings to my soul. Feel the magic around you, let it take control. Why worry about tomorrow when now is all you have? Life's a grand adventure, there's a fine pizzazz. Leave your world behind you when you're speaking in the trees. Happiness is what we share, and life can be a breeze, oh. Life can be a breeze, the one that's made of ease. Everyone is happy and no fear. And the world is just a chance when you choose to sing and dance. And love becomes the happiness appears.
Wonderful, Robbie. Thank you for that polished performance. And Portal players, I think they need your script. I can see it, at the Capitol. It would be wonderful. Okay. All right. We're back out into Zoom land, and Kathleen is going to take the mic over from David there.
I'm sorry. I did enjoy where rabbits aren't for dinner.
Yeah. My vegan heart appreciated that too.
All right. I have these three kids, Parker, Maddie, and Nico, and they are on the lam on the Isle of Wight. And Parker was they were on a castle, and King Charles I is also at the castle, and he's trying to get out of his room, and he's stuck in the bars of the window, and Parker was trying to help him out. And Nico says, "Stop! He needs to stay there so Oliver Cromwell can cut off his head and prove that Charles I is wrong when he says he can do anything he wants and that only God is the boss of him." Oliver Cromwell? What about the Irish? Didn't he massacre people and take away their land? Parker went to school and read books. Nico wasn't the only kid who knew stuff. "Hurry up, Maddie, I need your help." Maddie hesitated. She remembered her father telling her, "Maddie, you don't always have to do what your brothers say. You need to learn your own mind." Maddie let go of the rung and tugged on Parker's feet. "Come on down, it's over," she said, just as Charles I managed to squeeze his head back in through the bars into the room and close the window. Suddenly, Maddie was scrambling down the ladder and running across the courtyard. "Where are you going now?" Nico yelled. "To see the donkey. Can't you hear it? Can't you smell it? Follow me." Maddie and Parker took off to the well house where they saw an upright wooden tread wheel that reached all the way up to the roof of the tall building. And in the wheel, at the bottom, at floor level, was a donkey. As the donkey trod slowly forward, it was making the wheel turn. The turning wheel caused the axle to turn. The axle was at a right angle to the center of the wheel and had a rope wound around it from end to end. The other end of the rope was attached to a bucket that had been lowered into a deep well. As the donkey turned, the wheel turned the axle, the rope wound further up and pulled the bucket that had filled with water from the well. Set that poor donkey free! It's not a hamster, Maddie cried. Whoa, just 1 minute, the woman in charge said. It's now time to stop anyway. By the way, that donkey has a name. Meet Jill. The donkey only works 30 seconds at a time and for only 6 minutes a day. And they like to do this. We never force them. All our donkeys have names beginning with J because Charles I used to sign all his letters and plans to escape with a J. You're welcome to come with me to the stables and help brush Jill. She has such a nice brown coat and white nose, don't you think? Did you know donkeys greet each other by blowing into each other's noses? Look, Jill is trying to greet you, the woman added as Maddie jumped back a mile. After grooming Jill, we can go out to the pasture where you can meet Jack, Jigsaw, Juno, Jester, and Jingles. Nothing's more important to a castle than having a supply of water, because people might have to stay within its walls for a long time during a siege. Donkeys have been turning this water wheel for 300 years. The kids enjoyed grooming Jill and watching the donkeys play tug of war in the pasture, when suddenly Maddie asked, "Where's Nico?" Parker looked around frantically, but Nico was nowhere to be found. When did you last see him? Was he even with us when we went to the well house? Maddie asked. Remember when we lost him at the Great Wall of China when Dad took us there? We almost didn't find him. Maybe he's fallen down the deep well and gone to the other side of the earth. Parker, don't let your imagination go wild. Now that I think about it, I don't remember even seeing Nico at the well house. Don't you worry, we'll find him. Maddie remembered how her father always told them, "You kids have to look out for each other. I can't be with you 24/7. Had they failed their father? Meanwhile, instead of heading to the well house, Nico had climbed 5 steps set into the nearby north wall of the castle. Seated on the top step, he was looking through windows carved in stone and talking to a countess who was crying. Countess Isabella had inherited land from her dead husband and poisoned brother to become one of the richest women of England. But as she was telling Nico, she was exhausted from fighting everyone, even the king, to keep her lands and her independence. She had worked so hard to maintain and improve the castle. She had added a chapel, a new kitchen, an herb garden, and even a fish tank. But she wondered when the work would ever end and who would ever appreciate it. Nico, sitting in Isabella's great chamber, which had 3 glazed windows and overlooked the entire valley, reassured Isabel that he and everyone who visited Carisbrook would enjoy her view and remember her. For sure, I'll remember the fish. That was such a good idea for keeping people fed in a siege. Now, if the castle only had enough water, they could last forever. And I think my 5 minutes are up.
Thank you, Kathleen. We're looking forward to the next installment. It's I think a great idea that I know you said you went to the Isle of Wight. So was this a castle full of actors and you got the brilliant flash of light while you were there?
a castle full of actors, but when I was there, I kept imagining them.
Okay. All right.
I love the castle and the stories.
Alan, you're bringing it all to life for us. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. So Joe's not with us, so we're going to go to Qualicum Beach and Mark Wonneck.
Yes. Okay.
Going to share some music with us.
Sure. Kind of appropriate somehow. I didn't expect it would be, but it somehow it does. It seems that way now. I think I'm 25. I know I used to be a while ago, a good while ago, apparently. So when I look out these eyes, everything feels 25 to me. Or maybe like 32, or let's say 33. Yeah, sure, I've got a crick in my back, a little crooked, a little stiff in the knees. A couple of other places too, where there's getting to be a long list of these. But I'm feeling like I'm 25, or like I say, 43, because I'm still excited about the same kind of stuff, how things are, how things could be. I still want to paddle a canoe across the whole damn country. I bet I could. I'm sure I could, if I took it slowly. But I'm looking at all my friends. Geez, they've let themselves go. I used to know them to look at them, but it seems they've grown old. Grown old. I don't know about time. It's not all it's cracked up to be. It shows up here and there, but not everywhere the same, it seems to me. Honestly, I wouldn't even notice it if it wasn't for all these mirrors. And the stiff back and the stiff neck, they're always following me around here. But I'm looking at all my friends. Geez, they've let themselves go. I used to know them to look at them, but it seems they've grown old. Grown old. Well, just yesterday, I was thinking, there's never enough time. But now I'm wondering, what kind of time did I have in mind? Maybe the kind that gangs up with gravity, gray like a cloudy day, pulling on the threads of a borrowed suit. There's always a price to pay. Or maybe the kind that whispers in your ear, telling you things you wish you'd have known when the suit was new and you had no clue about growing old. But I'm looking at all my friends. Geez, they've let themselves go. I used to know them to look at them, but it seems they've grown old. Growing old. I saw this woman. She was quite a bit older than me. She went zipping by on an electric bike, her bright eyes wild and crazy. I don't know how she does it. I think she's got time on the run. If I had to guess, I'd say she's not quite done. But I'm looking at all my friends. Geez, they've let themselves go. I used to know them to look at them, but it seems they've grown old, and it reflects on me. And, you know, just sitting here, my back is getting a little bit stiff here. I gotta do something. Maybe I need a new chair or something. This chair is, I could always shorten this song, I suppose, but, there goes my knee. You ever get that where your knee just locks? you got to shake it out or something. It's just, I don't know why it does that. I never did that before. It just kind of locks. And what was that? What was I saying? Oh yeah, well, maybe I should get an electric bike. I could get an electric bike. Oh, it's kind of dangerous, really. But I could get the goggles. She had some goggles. They were like a pilot from World War II. Those kind of goggles. They're really cool goggles. I could get the goggles. I don't know about electric bike. Like a person could fall off an electric bike and break a hip or something. You don't want to do that. I don't want to break a hip. I just get the goggles. And kind of Qualicum Beach kind of song, I guess. Now that I think
Absolutely,
of it.
Qualicum Beach kind of song.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That was wonderful, Mark, and yeah, and so many of us could relate to that one. I see Char was said in the chat, Mark, that really hits home. I'm laughing out loud.
Oh dear.
and I was too. I was just actually this morning. My wife received. I think it's Facebook that sends you those memories.
Oh
And
yes.
it showed a picture of her and I 10 years ago, and then a picture quite recently, like last week. And I looked at the 10 years and went, I wish they wouldn't do this.
Exactly. That's exactly
You're
right.
rubbing it in my face. I mean, come on. Anyway, that really captured it. So your music, if people want to get some more, just remind everybody where they can get it.
I have a website. It's markwonneckmusic.com. And so it's real simple. You can probably just Google Mark Wonneck and you're bound to come across something. But I have a website and there's lots of stuff on there. So if they're interested in that. Although that one, I just made that one up not too long ago. So it's not on there. But
oh, well, record it quickly. We don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
I'm getting older,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Exactly. I forget how to play. Yeah. All right.
Thanks, man. That was great.
Yeah.
All right. We're on to Denman Island, and Bill Engelson is waiting in the wings there. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening. Am I on?
You are on, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I was just telling Mark, I should tell Mark that we just had an author at our Readers and Writers Festival named Adam Schultz, who in fact has been canoeing solo all over Canada. So
oh, the ratter! Oh my goodness! I
yeah,
always wanted to do
all
that.
over the place. All over the place. He's got a few books out, and he's like a solo canoeist, and he just talks because when you're alone canoeing, who are you going to talk to? So anyway,
yeah. When I was just briefly, when I was a young man, there was a father and his two sons. They were from Winnipeg, and they canoed from. Now I think it was from the Arctic all the way down to Argentina. The Starkels, Dana Starkel, I remember, and so that was totally inspiring when I was 20 something. But I never did do anything. But anyway, sorry. There I go.
Okay. Well, I got a few poems. I'll get into them. Most of them are fairly short, and just tell me if I'm running late. They're all written this year. Winter Escape. In a brief second, time is captured in a tome. Haiku Hideaway. Haiku Hideaway. 7 footsteps slip aside and seek slight shelter. And seek slight shelter amongst the brambles, the path. Overgrown, damp, dank. Overgrown, damp, dank, the sea churns, the eagle soars, and the sun shines through. Next poem. Do I opine? Do I opine? Indeed I do. A glass of wine will lube me true. My tongue will stretch, my mind will swirl, word salad sketch will fast unfurl. The art of thought, a simple task, I may know not until you ask. Once queried, I will speed orate and lofty high pontificate. Yes, I opine, indeed I do. A glass of wine will wax me true. Moving on. Just like the lost days of COVID. This is kind of political stuff about Trump, mostly, the next few poems. We await the war, economies scaled back, tariff toyed with, a tantrum of Trumps presaged the fit, persistent, peaked, and then the paranoia, the losses anticipated, careers careening, crashing, just like the lost days of COVID. Next poem, Trade Winds. US of A, eh? Ravenous sarcophagus, hungry for our spoils, picking away at our flesh, carnivorous coup, snarling wolf in Schlepp's clothing, divide and canker, we are left with the leavings, America's mire. Another brief one, a dawn, D-O-N, ting twit. Weary of too much rhyme, the artificiality of jingle time, Trumpian ad-libs and lies, a mangled prez of fruitless flies swirling all around his the idiocy of his 51st state. The politics of poetry. The politics of poetry are such that without finesse, one might not touch the essence of the pain, the pleasure, the magnificence, the measure of the meaning that one seeks. The selection of the words, their reach, depends on how one appraises speech, the listening and the cunning cadence, the shape of poems, the pretense of the meaning that one seeks. Next poem, Civility. In the viral haze, we have lost any vestige of civility. Of civility, as I think of prior times, a gentler cadence, a calm of needs and desires. Pollyanna aches. Yes, the past was a mirage. I crave artifice. Next poem is Ukraine Elegy. How tempting it is, a snappy sum up of war, a droll quip pro quo. 3 years long, quizzlings galore. Time, a long tripwire, drones of death buzzing lockstep, myopic optics, rogue super states on the prowl. 3 years are now 4. And finally, a very personal poem for me. Farewell, old friend, a poem to one and others, no doubt. We gather in joy, I suppose, celebrations of life, the spinning wheel of death enlivened, and we assemble, share highlights, refrain from evoking the darker moments, except perhaps, caught up in the antics of our youth, we recall those exuberant times, if we had them, knowing we all wanted to have them, reveling in youthful pranks, comforting those who needed comforting, though somehow, for me, these are not moments of celebration, not panaceas for things undone, unsaid. There are regrets that accumulate, but in the midst of memory, of loss, of close calls abated, there is the state of the world, the mass of deaths, Gaza deaths, for instance, the starving infants of Gaza, ever on our minds, save some who are starved for pity or cessation. And to the sleeping children of Camp Mystic, perhaps given notice to run, but where? For the Guadalupe River swelled up in rage, a disharmony of nature and nurture colliding, deaths of all dimensions, unending and natural. So unnatural, but part of the harrowing scheme of life. Farewell, old friend. I see you still as you were, as we imagined we were, those many years ago, snippets of time and trust, those I remember and cherish. Farewell, old friend.
Sweet. Thank you for that, Bill. And like you, I crave artifice as well, and I appreciate you bringing civility to the Electric Mermaid and your wonderful work. And for those of you out there who might not be following Bill on Facebook, you should, because he posts quite a few. You seem to do a lot of taking prompts daily and triggering poems and keeping yourself inspired that way and sharing them on Facebook. So it's a good role model for all of us. Keep writing every day. Yes. Thank you, Bill. All right, we're going to go out to Ontario now, where Jennifer has been waiting patiently after being overlooked on the readers list. Thank you, Jen, for hanging in there. I hope it's not too late. You're not too tired.
Karl.
Yeah. We got to give them the gears now and then,
Yeah, well, we'll forgive you this, Karl.
Yeah.
Okay, next month you're gonna go first. I'm gonna I'm gonna hold and put your name right on the list.
There we go.
I'm going to do one from my newest book, Emergence. And this is my poeticized reconstruction of a true story. It's called Hannah's Lament and is dedicated to my great-great-great-grandmother, Hannah Horsley. Norwich was my home, looming large in East Anglia, a different church every Sunday for you, and a different pub every night. Third city in England, they say, with our castle and cathedral, but the twisted, narrow back streets are what I knew, with the river cutting through like a jagged blade. I was born the year of our Lord, 1816. Dad was a gardener for those with money. Mum's hands were full with all of us kids. Poor St. Benedict's, our neighborhood, on the west side, just inside the old city wall, where everyone just tried to make their way, where the river wasn't far, always whispering a gentle siren call, but Mum kept us away. Oldest girl I was, and so Mum's helper, cooking, cleaning, looking out for the little ones, but I learned to read and write, proud of that I am, was nobody's fool, and so when I caught Thomas Horsley's eye, a coppersmith like his father John, well, I knew a good thing, I thought. We married 1837, the river just a sigh, a few streets over. To Higham we moved, just outside the old wall, 2 madhouses nearby, as poor as St. Bees, yet near work and Thomas's folks, and what we could afford, but low-lying, damp and foggy the air, for the river, slinking here and there through swamp and marsh, was close. Our children started coming. I loved them all, but little Edward, oh, he was special, right until he fell ill and we lost him, just 3 years old. We are sorry, but God's will, they said. The others need you, they urged, young Harriet and little Tom. But I had trouble hearing through the pain and the crying of the river. Came 1846, Thomas's mum gave up the fight, all swollen and bedridden, and so John now alone. Money getting scarce, or the hungry 40s, they called them, and they sure bit hard. Thomas, he kept at it when the work was there, but with one thing and another, the idea made sense. Move in with John, not far, nearer yet to the creeping flood. Another son, spinning image of our lost one, so we named him Edward as well. But the river flowed on. Thomas lost his job, started over as a bricklayer's laborer, while I kept the children fed and clothed in the shadow of the beckoning waters. Like a thief in the night it came, September 1854. John took sick, the cholera, they said. Terrible his suffering, his insides trying to get out. Nothing worked. He soon turned blue as the ocean, then was gone. 3 days later, and I'll never forget, I don't feel well, Mum, Edward moaned. And soon he was in bed listening to the river slip away. Typhus this time, they said, and soon he was burning up. Then the rash came. Weaker by the hour, didn't know where he was or anything else. Thomas and I stayed round the clock, but nothing worked. And soon my second Edward, like the first, was gone and heard only the hymn of the river. We are so sorry, they said, but now young Harriet and little Tom still need you. Thomas, he tried too, and I listened, but in the still of the night I visited the river, and when the moon was right, a quarter full and growing, I could see my babies. We flowed onward a year and more to the spring when my first Edward would have been 14, and the day when the second was 8. I went down, I could feel them there, but the moonlight was yet a tad weak. 11 more days, June 8th, waxing quarter moon, fine early summer's evening. I slipped away along the familiar path, and there they were, my Edwards, in the summoning water. And when the nightingale rested, I could hear them call, asking for Mum. All else, any thought of future, of my poor Thomas, or Harriet and Tom, faded into the gathering gloom, and I fell into the river's embrace, reaching out for my lost dear ones, borne down by the past and its struggles like an anchor. And when the moon is right and the air is quiet, if you can still find the spot and the river is willing, you just might see a mother and her sons locked in an eternal embrace. Thank you.
Wow. Powerful story and powerfully told. And
Thank you.
for
That one's
sharing
close to my heart.
Ugh. Makes one grateful for living when we live, in terms of, the diseases that we worry about.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I did a lot of research on that. Like, what are the symptoms of cholera and what are the symptoms of typhus? What was the weather on the day when she took her own life, and so on and so on and so on.
Wow, beautiful. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. For those who might be interested in your book, we'll send them to jenniferwenpoet.wixsite.com/home. Right? It's in the chat for those out in Zoom land. If you haven't got her book yet, please do. All right. Where are we going? We're back into Char's Landing now, and Melissa has joined us this evening. We're so glad you came, Melissa. I know Melissa reached out to me and said, I'm a little nervous about reading, but is it okay? And I said, absolutely, please come and share it. We all get nervous when we read, but it's wonderful to be amongst writers and people who are also bearing their souls. And so we're so glad you came, Melissa. And
First time
so
on a
looking forward.
microphone, Derek. It's her first time on a microphone.
Okay, yeah. So you gotta keep your face close to that mic.
Hey, I'd like to reach out and say I loved the last reading, and that was really inspiring and enlightening for what other people had to go through before we called our lives hard. So
Thank you.
this is after we called our lives hard and didn't know it. Let me find it. The first one I'm going to read is about my parents. Sorry, dear. The first one I'm going to read is about my parents. They've been together for over 50 years. They've just had their 50th anniversary. And for their 50th anniversary, my father was in the hospital and we didn't know if he was going to make it. So we celebrated it actually in the hospital. And this is what I wrote for them. It's called 50 Years. All gather round and get comfortable. Please lend me your ears. I'll share with you a story, a tale of 50 years. But I'll start at the beginning, 54 years ago, in a tiny community they both called their home. A charming young prince and his princess Pigeon. Pause. Pigeon means pigeon in French, and this is some sort of endearing term. A charming young prince and his princess Pigeon. Oh, what a love story. I'll tell you now. So, this quiet young prince, so handsome and nice, saw a beautiful princess skating on ice. This princess on ice, so pretty, so fair. She noticed the prince, rushed home to Queen Claire, my grandmother, her mother. Can I bring him to dinner? You'll like him, I swear. He's polite. He's respectful. Your dinner, he'll wear. So she said yes, and the family had laughs when the prince's plate fell right into his lap. The princess stood up. She helped clean up the prince. And these two royal beauties have been together ever since. 4 years later, they married. Then children. What bliss. First a son, then his angelic sis. From the city they moved to the coast of BC, from the flat prairie lands to the edge of the sea. They toiled and labored through many a year, saw many successes and many a tear. Through the ups and the downs, their love never wavered, a bond so much stronger than two signatures on a paper. So let's all raise a glass for a toast to 50 years of love, a prince and his pigeon. So that, thank you. So that was for my parents, and there's many, many, many poems I've written over the years. I've been writing since I was 12. I'm 41. I want to start it with a little bit of a lighthearted feeling, so I've switched the poems I'm going to read to you tonight to two that are more lighthearted and one that is sort of not. So I'm going to read that unlighthearted poem next and finish it off with something I feel like will make you giggle a bit. The next poem is called Gravel Roads and Heavy Loads. It's really short. I want to say I don't care and speak it into existence. Looking at the layers is heavy. It requires persistence. So I lie to myself, like a poorly paved road, making potholes and puddles to shoulder my load. And the path I walk on gets weaker with each step. I'm just about falling now, sinking into the depth with each step. So I tiptoe through life, around it and not through it. Not living, surviving, just trying to endure it. Thank you. So moving on, I'm going to read a poem that is very lighthearted, maybe not to some of you if you are a lover of all things that crawl. I'm going to explain to you that in the first few sentences, I am not a serial killer. So keep that in mind. It's called Know Your Limit, Crawl Within It. If I see you, I'm going to kill you. I feel bad. You're small, but you're brave. So sad. But I didn't cross the line. You did. It's too bad. Stay in your lane, though. Outside of my pad. Inside is mine. Outside, hey, all yours. I'll walk through your webs, spun outside of my doors, through the trees, in the carport, and under my deck. But inside my room, it's just disrespect. So what then? You tell me. What could you expect? You're creepy, sure. I'm huge. No contest. In peace now you rest, in memory of all the bug I've squashed. Thanks, guys.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Melissa. And thank you for, your courage to step up there. You're a natural presenter, so that was very entertaining, very enjoyable to watch, and delightful. And your parents must have felt very blessed when you read that to them, and hopefully your father was all right after that. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of the open micers. I'm going to read a short flash fiction piece that I've been working on, channeling my Aunt Nellie from Newfoundland. I'm actually heading to Newfoundland in a few days for a family reunion next week. We've got 5 days in St. John's, so I'm really quite looking forward to that. Go back to the rock where my parents came from. And unfortunately, I don't have many living relatives left there now. They've all passed on and their kids all left the island. So anyway, this one's called What I's Done. Floyd comes in all puppy face, so's I know something's up, but I waits for him to tell me so's he can't be calling me a nosy Parker. He shuffles round the kitchen for a while, then comes back out to the living room where I'm knitting a chamois for him to wash the car with like he does every Saturday. He stares out the front window for a bit like he's looking for something or somebody to come up the front walk and change his mood, as if it were a pair of pants he just found a stain on. Finally, he heaves a big sigh and plunks himself down in his lazy boy. I figure he's decided to solve things with a nap when Lord Thunder and Jesus the boy finally finds his tongue. Happened again, Mary, he says. What's that now, Floyd? You didn't forget your pills again, did you? Floyd's got the cancer in his prostate and can't pee without his pills. No, nothing like that. I were down the Avalon Mall picking up me lottery ticket for the month, same as I always do, when this woman come up to thanks me for all the good work I done building a playground down in Rabbit Town. Oh, another one of Jerry's cheerleaders, were she? You set her straight this time? Didn't have the heart. Just like he didn't the first time it happened at the liquor store. Some blonde buttered him up for feeding the skeets down to Sally Ann. He come home grinning that time, saying, Mary, you're not going to believe this, but there must be a boy in town named Jerry what looks just like me. I told him then he shouldn't lead people on, but I could tell he were liking the buttering even if he didn't deserve it. So how come so glum, I says. Hoping he'll unload before my show starts on the box. I've been a sucker for the young and the restless ever since we got the cable. It was a bit of a lark when that guy thanked me for driving his mum to the docks, he says, and I didn't mind taking credit for stopping the mayor from jacking up the cost of water with that letter Jerry wrote to the telly. But lately, it's been getting harder, listening to all the stuff this Jerry does, building tiny homes for the homeless, raising money for the pitmans what got burnt out last winter. I mean, that son of a sea cook must be some kind of a saint. Nah, you can't go comparing yourself to Jerry, my dear. He's running round like he's some kissing cousin to Christ, but for all we knows, he could be slimy as a fresh jig squid. You gots to wonder why it's all the women pouring butter on your biscuit. Yeah, but I keeps asking myself, what's I done to help anybody else in this world? And the only answer I get is nothing. What do you mean nothing? I says. You kept a roof over our heads for 50-some years now, punching that time clock day after day so old man Browning could send his kids to private school. You kept bread on the table for us and our two brats, paid their airline tickets to Alberta after high school. You paid your taxes so the government could waste the money telling us what to do. Even that lottery ticket you buy every month helps the charities. You done plenty, dear, and don't let nobody tells you different. If you ain't done nothing, then what's any of us done? Floyd sits there tinking for a few minutes, looking kind of small in that big soft chair with his bony arms jutting out of his plaid shirt. His hair was after going right white in the last few months since his doctor gave him the news. Maybe that's when he started looking like this Jerry fella, because nobody called him Jerry before then. Just when I'm thinking maybe I's talked him out of his foolishness, his chin starts jumping back and forth, and I gets ready to hear what's really stuck in his throat. He locks eyes with me then with a look what scares me. But what's I really done, Mary? What's I really done? He says. Doc says it's in me bones now. Told me so this morning. I'm as good as gone. His face starts to crumples up like a lunch bag balled for the trash, and I gets up to hold him whilst he has a good cry, but next thing I know, he's having none of it, sure. Runs a hand across his eyes and struggles up outs the chair, saying, I's okay, Ducky, I's okay. You sits down now, I'll put the kittle on and we can watch your show together. He heads for the kitchen then, and I stands there watching the dint in the lazy boy slowly rise up and disappear. Only take a few seconds before it's like he weren't never there in the first place. That's when me knees go squishy and I has to sits down quick before I falls down. And that is that.
Wow.
Come back to Zoom. So that would be the end of Electric Mermaid for July 2025. And what a fantastic evening we've had of variety and joy and pain and and humor and everything in between. It's been delightful, and I thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your work with us tonight. It was beautiful, and especially thank you to our featured reader, Brian, for sharing from the Rise of the Jellies. Brilliant work of satire, and I hope it goes big. I want to see the movie. It'll be wonderful.
We play.
And thank you to Char, of course, as always, for hosting us and making the Zoom work so well. And I don't know, for helping David and Kathleen this afternoon. All you do, Char. It's so appreciated, and we're so grateful. And thank you to Karl for being the moderator and doing all you do. And we've forgiven you already for that one little glitch there. It's no biggie. Jen's all right with it now.
I did get your email, Jen, and I did reply back to you, but I just somehow slipped my mind. I'm so sorry.
Remind me, Karl, who's our featured reader going to be next month?
Next month it is Bill Engelson.
Oh, fantastic, Bill! Awesome. All right, well, we look forward to that, and to have a chance to sink into a longer bit of your work will be wonderful, Bill. Looking forward to it. All right, and I don't know, is Sheila there tonight in live at Char's Landing?
She's
as
awesome.
always. Yeah, she is, and thank you. I'm not there enjoying the beverages you bring around, but I'm sure the people there did. And look forward to being my pleasure, and I look forward to being there live next month. Our work up island here is all done. My wife's aunt has finally passed, and we're about to head back to Port Alberni, so on the weekend. So we look forward to seeing you all in August, and in the meantime, keep on writing and keep on being your beautiful selves, and we'll see you end of August. Take good care, all. Goodbye, everybody at Char's Landing. Goodbye and good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye, Leslie.
Leslie, get some sleep in Germany now.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to bed.
Yes, I don't blame you to go back to bed. If I was in that time zone, I would do the same thing.
Yeah, it's not quite 5 a.m, so.
Oh.
Get some sleep.
No. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, all. Take care.
Okay, I cannot believe I did that.
Good night, Char. Thank you so much. Oh,
I tell you, Derek, that story, gripping, and then the Labradorian accent. It's heart-wrenching, really.
My Aunt Nellie and Uncle Jack, God bless their souls, rest their souls in heaven, came and lived with us. They were supposed to come for like a few weeks, and they ended up living with us for months before they found a place to live. And they were straight from St. John's when they got there. My parents, their accents had kind of toned down over the years, but Nellie and Jack, they were, and as I was about, I don't know, 12 years old or 13 years old, I was fascinated just listening to them. I could listen to them for hours, right?
Right?
So, yeah, pretty easy to channel them now. But anyway, I was going to say, I don't know if Melissa probably couldn't see the chat there, but somebody put in there, Melissa, please come back.
What?
Come back, Melissa. David said that. So if Melissa's still there, make sure she knows.
That's only blessings of people who maybe connect with something or have any experience that might have been the same, family, whatever, whatnot. But that is really inspiring. So If I did anything to inspire you to want me back, you have said something that inspires me to definitely come back. So that's more than anything I could have hoped for. And I thank you for that so much. And I just want to let you know, Mr. Hanebury, I have one of your students of English in this building when you taught in North Island College, and her name is Julia Krywoken, but she married a Payne, so her name is Julia Payne. And she
Payne
came
now,
here with
okay.
me, so I was going to
Fabulous.
get a hold of you and let you know. She immediately recognized you and was like, "Are you kidding? That is my English professor whom I love." So I needed to like give you props and let you know that everything you do, everything we do inspires the next person and affects the next person. And there's nothing we will ever do good that goes unnoticed. So this was just kismet. This was, written in the stars. And I feel like very welcomed and comfortable. And I thank you for everything you've done.
Awesome, Melissa. Thank you. You made my night. Say hi to Julie for me. That's fabulous. All right. Look forward to seeing you live there next month. Hey, Char, you take care, eh? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good night.